So what do you think, Miguel?
Go right ahead, Doug. And also remind everyone that if they're not speaking, let's keep the camera off to keep the bandwidth down.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're going to be recording this meeting for training purposes and also live streaming it. I would like to ask all the DSOs to sign into the chat so we have a record of who's here, please. So welcome DSOs, ADSOs, district chiefs of staff, commodores, and distinguished guests to the all hands meeting for the materials branch of the W-Directorate. It's great to have all of you here. My name is Doug Wilworth. I'm the Division Chief Administrative Support in the W-Directorate. I will at this time turn the program over to Miguel Minervini, our W-Directorate Director, for the introductions, of our guest speakers.
Thank you, Doug. Good evening, everyone. My name is Miguel Minervini, and I am the Director of the Document and Administrative Directorate. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to today's All Hands Auxiliary Materials Staff Officer meeting. Thank you for your time, your dedication, and for being here today as we continue to serve in our mission of supporting the Coast Guard and enhancing the safety and security of our waterways. As material officers, we play an integral role in maintaining the equipment, resources, and supplies that are vital to our operations. Whether it's ensuring proper distribution, managing inventory, or supporting our public education efforts, your work ensures that the auxiliary is always ready to support the Coast Guard's mission when called upon. Today's meeting will provide an opportunity to share best practices, address any challenges we are facing, and focus on improving our effectiveness in this critical role. Those of you joining us today via the YouTube live event link will have the opportunity to ask questions via live chat. Please hold your questions until we have come to the Q&A portion of this meeting, where I will be monitoring the questions and selecting those that will have time to answer. As always, those of us here on the national and district level encourage open discussion, feedback, and most importantly, teamwork as we move forward. Together, we can ensure that we remain a well-equipped, well-prepared, and resilient force ready to respond to any mission or task at hand. Thank you again for your commitment to the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I look forward to a productive meeting with all of you. With this said, I would now like to introduce our guest speakers for this evening, who have graciously afforded some time from their busy schedules to speak at this event. With us, we have Commodore Mary Kirkwood, our National Commodore, Commodore Patrick Ferry, our Vice National Commodore, Commodore Richard Mihilshik, the Assistant National Commodore for the Administrative Services Group, Terry Barth, the Deputy Assistant National Commodore for the Administrative Services Group, and Theo Narkowitz, the Deputy Director, Document and Administrative Directorate, and my right hand. First up is Commodore Mary Kirkwood, our National Commodore. Commodore, I will hand this over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Although I'm not seeing you, I know you're all out there. Thanks for inviting me, Miguel. This is an important meeting tonight, just to bring people together and talk about the role of the materials officer, which has changed quite a bit. You know, when I started 20 years ago, it was all about stamps and envelopes and providing stamps and envelopes to our members who were doing correspondence. But the position has changed quite a bit over the years, and it's continuing to grow. Miguel talked about being ready, mission ready, and that's very important right now for us to make sure that our members are ready or at the ready in case we get called to do different duties. And we've had several new missions this year that have expanded what we're doing, and we're continuing to see more this next coming year. One of the things that we'll be talking about at our N train, which has gone, we've had to go virtual because of Coast Guard funding and other issues that have happened in the last month or so. We'll be voting on a new DSO position, which may change some of your positions just a little bit. The position will be RS, and I know many of you right now in your positions are managing our members' PPE for boat crew, perhaps for air, for other activities that people are doing, and we're going to be introducing the RS position. It needs to be approved by the national board, but it co-aligns better with the active duty in terms of monitoring our PPE. As I said, some of you might already be doing that, so it might be augmenting your positions just a little bit. But it's I think it's necessary. And I get asked quite a bit, why are our standards changing in the auxiliary? Why is it getting harder and harder to be an auxiliarist and to do our jobs? And the answer I have for that is because our jobs are changing. The needs of active duty to call upon the auxiliary has changed dramatically since COVID, especially. Certainly since 9/11, but since COVID as well. And we're going to be seeing that more and more in the next couple of years. And so we need to continue to increase our skill level, our knowledge, our expertise, so that we are on the same playing field as our active duty partners, so that we can step in as they need us in different positions and different roles. So thanks for being here. Thanks for doing the important job of what you're doing, materials officers at your DSOs. I know some of you are probably division and flotilla staff officers as well, which I appreciate. It's got to get done, and I know you're doing a great job. So we've got several people to be speaking tonight, so I'm going to say thank you, and it's good to have you all here.
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate everything that you're doing in support of materials. Thank you so much. Next up is our Vice National Commodore, Patrick Fury. Commodore, if you would.
Well, it doesn't look like my camera's going to cooperate, so you're just going to have to put up with that picture with half my head cut off. So good evening, everyone. Miguel, thanks for inviting me as always. And thank you all for being here tonight. You know, you all play a very important role. As Commodore Kirkwood said, that role may be changing a little bit. I know in some districts, you all may be heavily involved, or the materials officer may be heavily involved, or at least at the division and the flotilla level with the PPE management. And, you know, if that comes about, be a national thing, we'll soon find that out. But if you are tasked with those kind of duties, or your people are in your districts, God bless you. I know that can be a thankless job sometime, but stay after it. But I just want to say thanks, and I want to tell you that you do an important job. You provide an important service, and why do I say that? You know, I say that because it's one of those jobs that a lot of times just goes unnoticed and undetected. You know, oh yeah, you know, you have brochures and, as Mary said, stamps and envelopes, but it's more than that. You know, you are the subject matter experts about the materials that are provided to us through ANSI and for our public education courses, and really, you know, need to make sure that the materials that are being used are fresh and up to date. There's nothing worse, I think, than to go to a PA event or go to one of our retail partners and go look at the box, or be out on a VE and see, you know, somebody passing out tattered, worn, and maybe even outdated materials. So it's important that you all are up to date with new materials, that you make sure that you have the latest materials in stock, get rid of the old and tattered stuff, as much as you hate to turn loose of it sometimes. But make sure we are being presented in what we are giving out and in what your people are giving out. Your flotillas is a squared away organization. You know, it might not be a glamorous job. It might not be one of those jobs like, you know, being a culinary assistant, being at the station all the time, or even being somebody that's out crewing every weekend. But it is important, because what you are providing the VEs and the PVs and the public affairs people in your flotillas is what touches the public. And, you know, that's something that we have to be very cognizant of and be aware of in today's world, that we look squared away and professional, not only in our uniforms, but in what we're handing out to people, and we need to be knowledgeable about it. And I would ask all of you is if this is the first time you're in this position, you are the subject matter experts at the district level about what's in stock and what's new and what isn't, what might need to be purged from the inventory. You are the person that gives our people that touch the public and touch other boaters some of the best tools that we have to help provide for recreational boating safety. So don't sell yourself short. At times you might think your job is thankless. You might think your responsibilities don't mean a lot, but when you put it in the context, or you put it in the framework of what we do as Coast Guard auxiliaries, your job is very important. It's just as important as anybody else. So thank you for being on this call tonight. Miguel and staff, thanks for inviting us. And if we can help, please let us know. Yeah, you're working for some great people, or with some great people, I should say, at the national level. So thanks for all you do. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Miguel.
Thank you, Commodore Ferry. Your words are golden. Thank you. Next up is our Assistant National Commodore for the Administrative Services Group, Commodore Richard Mahilchik. Rich, are you on?
Yes, I'm right here. Can you hear me, Miguel?
Yes, sir.
All right. So listen, I wanted to just say that, this is so important to me, materials. I've always been passionate about it. I think it's, we need that to help recruit, to get the word out about the auxiliary. And I've always been passionate. It's always been dear to my heart. So I just want to thank everyone for being on tonight. And I really appreciate it. And anything you need from me, let me know.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. I don't know if Terry is on. Terry, are you on? Okay.
I think she's tied up till 8:30.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Commodore. And I don't see Thea as well. So, Doug, I am going to turn this back over to you. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So we're going to take the next guest speaker, Commodore Fajardo, who's president and CEO of the Coast Guard Auxiliary Association. So, Commodore Fajardo, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. No, thank you for the opportunity to come on board. And I was asked to make a presentation regarding the Coast Guard Auxiliary Association. And I do have to say that I really appreciate all the work that the material officers do for the flotilla division and district level, as well as national, the work that you all do in the W-Directorate. It's really important. So what I'd like to go over here is just some of the things that we at the association, what we do. And I also have our Chief Operating Officer, Stan Feldman, on the call. He's going to talk about the parts of the Fulfillment Center, but let me just give you a quick overview of what the Auxiliary Association does. We've given this presentation to the National Board, but we also had given it here. Let me share my screen first before we start. See if I could do that. I'll share it right now here and do the presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
You can. Thank you. Yeah, so it's an update for you all, what we do at the Coast Guard Auxiliary Association. These are some of the academic details. We're a 501c3 corporation. We're authorized by the Commandant to manage the fiscal affairs of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And we're able to provide the funds, resources, and tools to support our collective mission. I'm operating right now as the President CEO for the association, but of course I'm an auxiliarist on the other half of the coin, side of the coin. Without the Auxiliary Association, in many ways, dues would be much higher. And the fact that we're able to get funds to be able to support the mission, the auxiliary, and by the end of the day, the mission of the Coast Guard is what we try to do. We also, you hear about it in many ways, that we provide member benefits to our auxiliarists. If you haven't been to the Coast Guard Auxiliary Association website at cgauxa.org, I encourage you to take a look at it. We also are working, for example, AARP. There's a really nice discount of a 2-year membership for $20. And you don't have to be 55 or even 50 to be a member of AARP. You could be 18 years old and you could join AARP. And again, $20 for 2 years, and you get a lot of nice benefits for that, a lot of discounts. So absolutely take a look at that. And we even started a program with Safe Harbor Marinas, a fuel discount of 50 cents per gallon. If you tell them that you're an auxiliarist, they'll be able to help you out with that. So these are some of the things that we do from the Auxiliary Association. And of course, if your family members are also, since you are an auxiliarist and a member of the Auxiliary Association, by that relationship, your family members can also be part, can also take advantage of a number of these benefits. To your point, we also, to one point is that when I mentioned that we're able to help ease some of the costs for the auxiliary, we have the ability to process donations. So other entities, if you have someone, let's say if you have a group who might want to donate to the auxiliary, by means to also help, let's say a flotilla or division or even the district, we could help manage and process those donations. We also have the ability to make sure that we don't charge for those resources. We don't charge for those donations. So one thing I want to make a mention is that if you do get a check, please process that check within 90 days. If you don't, the check will go stale and you won't get the money. So one of the things I want to talk about is Auxiliary Fulfillment Center. It's located right outside of St. Louis in Granite City, Illinois. And this is the outside of the fulfillment center. I actually flew out there late last year to take a look and just do an audit of the operations at the facility. It provides all those uniform items that you're used to, the various parts that you can't get from the Coast Guard Exchange. The Auxiliary Center fulfills those items there. And this is an example of the warehouse, what it looks like. And some of the items, they have over 800 items, over 800 SKUs. And then this is the on-site staff here who helps us out. Heather, she's the second from the left, Deanna on the far right, and then Kim on the far left. And there's me having fun with them over there, but also just seeing what they do and being impressed with what they deliver. And even here, for example, they produce name tags, production in the house. And with that, what I'd like to just mention is that these folks are really making the process run quickly, and now it's even faster. And there's some options here to be able to order items from the fulfillment center. If it's, let's say, less than $20 in cost, we recommend that you call it in and not use the e-commerce part of the website, because you could actually get the actual shipping costs and actually save money by going through that process. And because of that, I want to also give credit to Stan Feldman, who I'm going to ask to come and speak right now. He's the one who really is the key person as our chief operating officer to help with the Auxiliary Association, namely the AUXEN. So Stan, if you have a moment, we'd love for you to come and give some additional information, especially for the DSO MAs.
Thank you, Dale. I appreciate the introduction. I have to assume that most of you do know me. I've been sending out memos and stuff like that over the years. I am also part of the other side of the house, in that I'm an ADSO MA. Hey, Ken Gaynor, how are you doing? I've been an auxiliarist since 1980, so I've lived through the good times and the bad times. And Doug was kind enough to send me over a list of things that I should be addressing. So let's go right into shipping costs and how they work. Right now, if you order anything or a bunch of items up to $70, the shipping cost on that is $8.95. Well, that sort of would kill me when I have to order a mount, a ribbon mount, for $1.50 and have to pay $8.95 in shipping. So when you go into AUXEN, which is AUXEN.com, it tells you right in there, anything under $20, as Dale had said, call the office and you will pay the actual shipping cost, whatever it's got to cost us, either FedEx or United States Postal. Our machines will tell us what the actual cost is to your house, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than $8.95. And our shipping is really based on the dollar volume. So that if you're buying anything between, and I'm looking down at my desk here because that's where it is, anything from $70 to $105, your shipping cost is $10.95. From $105 to $140, it's $12.95. And anything above $140, you're going to pay $13.95. It's a fixed price. What I would suggest is that you pass on to your members who are going to be ordering 1 or 2 items, have them put their orders together. And this way you share that cost of shipping. So that's how our shipping costs work. Are there any new products available for purchase? Not really. We're trying to cut back on our inventory, and we're really trying to cater to your actual uniform needs. Every month, I take a look at what our sales are. And my background, initially, when I came out of the Navy, I went into the supermarket business. And everything on that supermarket shelf has got to have a return on investment. It's got to earn its spot there. So we have the same problem. So, for example, if you can buy it at West Marine cheaper than what I can, I'm going to discontinue that item and let you go to West Marine. And the reason being is that they can buy it cheaper than I can. And they're going to show it cheaper than I can. So we have reduced our inventory from 900 items. We're down to about 800 items right now in inventory. And talking about inventory, we did an analysis at the end of our fiscal year as to what it's costing us to be an auxiliary fulfillment center. And as I said, in the supermarket business, and that's what we are, we're a supermarket to you. An item has to earn its space on the shelf. So we reevaluated what our pricing structure was, and we have raised some prices, and we've also lowered some prices. And how we price our product is I take the landed cost, and to that I add our markup based on how that product sells. And in the past, that would become our district selling price. So when you went to your D trains, you ordered your consignment, you were going to pay that price. Everything up on our Commerce Center was an additional 5%. We've eliminated that. And right now, whatever my landed price is plus our markup, that's the price you're going to pay. So the question is, what happened to the 5% rebate that went away in November? Well, we looked at our restocking fee. And as many of you know, we were getting clobbered where people, you were ordering for D train, let's say $10,000 worth of merchandise, and you were shipping us back $7,000. Well, it costs us money to put that stuff back into stock. So, speaking to the national staff, the National Commodore back then, we agreed that we were going to charge anything over a 50% that you ship back. We were going to charge 15% restocking fee or $300, whichever was higher. Well, what we've done now, since we eliminated this, to sort of make you a better shopper, if you send us back less than 50% of what you ordered, we're going to give you a 10% credit on that D-Train bill. So you got to be very careful now on what you order. And you got to look at your past history on what you have sold at your D-Trains. I think that's about it.
I think we're good. Thank you, Stan. No, I think they're going to have a Q&A later on, but I think we covered our side pretty well. And thank you for your background, Stan. Appreciate it. And I'll turn it back over to Doug.
All right. Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Commodore Fajardo. and appreciate your presentation. So next up, let's see here. Pull my list up. I want to introduce our national staff that work really hard behind the scenes. So we're going to start out with our branch assistant, Desiree, who is responsible for the branch supplies and support. We have our branch assistant, Ken, who's responsible for the branch training and the great newsletter. And we have the division chief, who is me, the administrative support, and I'm responsible for the Secretary of Records branch and materials branch of the W-Directorate. So Desiree, Ken, and I have other jobs in the auxiliary and are in the trenches with all of you, understanding the good, the bad, and the ugly. We will talk about some of the challenges and potential solutions as we go through our presentation. The materials branch is where we can share ideas and help each other meet our objectives. You will hear me talk about communication throughout the program, and that's going to be one of the key words that I'm going to continue to use. Though that's always going to be important at every level on almost any branch or job that we have in the auxiliary. So in a moment, Ken will be reviewing the web page, which is always a work in progress, and it's going to contain a wealth of knowledge and resources to answer the majority of your questions. If you didn't know this, there are approximately 800 materials officers across the country. And one of our goals is to be in touch with everyone through good communication, similar to having this meeting this evening. Your upline staff officer will be considered a resident expert for questions and education and will be the direct resource for questions or concerns through the chain of leadership. We are going to be taking a few minutes now to drill down into some of the information that we believe will be helpful in understanding the importance of what you do. I'm going to turn the program over to Ken, who will review some important details and resources related to the website. So just bear with me here for a moment to pull that up. And give me a second here. All right, can you see my page?
Yep, there goes.
All right, very good.
Okay. I'll start now. Good evening, everyone. Ken Sylvester here, again, as Doug said, branch assistant for the materials national staff for training. And I'm excited to be here tonight to show you what we've done over the last 2 years. This has been quite a journey when we started this, actually with Desiree was part of the startup as well, to really create a repository for the material officers to be able to go to as a resource, right? Rather than looking all over the place for information to try to make it into a central location. And again, this is really your tool, right? This is part of your toolbox, if you will. And we feel this resource and communication is an important tool. So I think we all know how to get to the W-Directorate. There's several ways to go. You can go on the main auxiliary page, and there's a drop-down menu, and you find the W-Directorate that way through the administrative and document administrative drop-down, which is the W-Directorate. And you can see there on the opening page or the first page, right now we do have an opening for a branch chief. So little advertisement there, and I know it's been posted. So we're looking to hopefully have some good candidates for that. And you can see myself there as a branch assistant, material training, and then Desiree, branch assistant for material supplies. And you could look at this a couple ways. On the first page also has the information that is on the left-hand side. So under material officers, so anybody really can get to this first page of the website, but to drill down into the details on the material officers, you have to sign up in the blue box there on the left, just like you do on any of the directorate pages. And then you go down to material officers, where you can see the little arrow in front, and then we have all the red information underneath. So if you can go, you go to the first one. So if you want to look at the all hands meeting, you can click on that and that'll give you, so we're recording this, as you know, you can go back, the one from last year in 2024 is there, and that you can, relook at that if you hadn't attended it last year. And then we have the materials contact list. So this will give you the contact list of all the latest material officers. And as you can see, it didn't open. And there goes Doug putting his credentials in there. And up pops, again, the details of the national staff, and then all the DSO material officers in the appropriate districts with their contact information. And then if you go down what's new, that'll give you just some general information, really about a lot of different things in the auxiliary that really focuses on not necessarily materials. Here you can see there's information on uniforms and things like that. That gets updated periodically. So it's just a general update. And then if you go to Job Aids Kit, this is a real important repository, we believe, here. And there was a lot of work put into this section itself, especially as you can see under the document title, it's training, pass down book, and transition checklist. So if you look at training, if you want to click on that, Doug, the training one, this is basically a PowerPoint presentation. So it's really for material officers, and basically it's a PowerPoint presentation that you can go through that gives you information and, as a training tool as well. And then if you go back, the pass down book, so obviously different material officers come on board at different periods, and this is a pass down book we pulled together to give you an idea of the historical record and resource, right, for you to build on for those who come after you. And it's set up as an alphabetical suggested list of documents, information to be saved electronically in hard copy. So again, we try to capture as best we can what we think is important to be in a pass down book. And then we have the transition checklist. And again, this is just a checklist for new material officers to basically go through, right? They'll help get them in a position to see what needs to be done and where they can get some information. And then we go down under the job description templates. Again, we put work in on to look at, again, a place to put it so you don't have to be looking around all through the different auxiliary procedures guides. So we pulled it out. So you have the FSO job responsibilities, you have the district material officer responsibilities, and of course the DSO. Again, this was pulled into from the different procedures guides. And then we have material schedules, give you an idea of the 2025 boating safety calendar, what you might want to look at from the standpoint of providing information for the different months that follow the safe boating period. And then we have a general timeline under that that again lays out kind of what you maybe want to get in position to provide your different members of the auxiliary to support, PA events and things like that. And then, of course, then there's the materials for the DSO MA. We have the report schedule and the meeting schedule. And then if we go back up on the left, again, Doug, go up a little bit. When we have forms, if you want to click on that right now, we have basically the ANSI form there, the email order form, and of course the instructions, which sometimes individuals have problems with, but we tried to lay out a clear instruction of how to navigate through that ANSI form. And then the next section, material newsletter. We're pretty excited about this and proud of the work that's been done. So this is the 4th edition. So we have all the past editions on the website as well, but the latest one here. So we're really focused to do 2. We want to do a winter and a summer. So this was the winter 2025. And a lot of them, they're set up basically the same, inside this edition, if you will, right? So since I'm the editor, I have some, my thoughts in the beginning there. And then we usually have the material branch, vision, and mission in this particular edition. And then if you go back up, Doug, or down, whatever. We try to get, and then since Doug is new to our directorate, we like to have bios in here of members as much as we can. So we have a bio on Doug here. We're always looking for volunteers to volunteer to do a bio for us. We've been lucky. All of our editions, we had at least 1 and possibly 2 and 3 on some of the other editions. We have a section here for reward and recognition. We talked about this poker chip idea. Gives you an idea of the poker chip. If you go down, Doug. This was a fairly long reference to describing the poker chip on the uses in the auxiliary. And then we have a calendar. We have some sample material officer calendars. We put in there about what to expect coming into 2025. And then we try to put something in there about, did you know, something maybe unique. And here, Dale had written a nice article for us, Understanding Your Coast Guard Auxiliary Association. Now we just have some general information, some fantastic news, or did you know? This particular one was that the Coast Guard used pigeons back in the day to look for lost sea accidents and people. Then we have, of course, our help wanted. As we said, we have our branch chief opening, some tidbits. You go down the last page, Doug. And then, last page is, again, some information on, here we try to provide some information on district stores, who to contact, what district they're in, and also some of the general information on, the website and the meetings and reports and things like that. So like I said, it's kind of still a work in progress. Like I said, we've done 4 so far. And this is, again, this is for you. This is for all the material officers. We're really producing this for you. We're not just producing this for us. You know what I mean? So we will really welcome your input on it, maybe what you'd like to see. Again, looking for volunteers to write either articles for us or bios for us, or give us an idea, maybe what you want to see in it. Like we're very open. And like I said, we're doing it twice a year. If we get a lot of input from people, maybe we'll do a 3rd edition each year. You know what I mean? So it takes us a while to pull a lot of information together, but we're happy to do that, especially providing this resource for everyone. And then the last there is basically just the resources. And this is really a list of a lot of things, as we talked about, general information on where you might be able to procure different information and different areas, including, uniforms and things like that are in here as well. And I think that pretty much covers the web page. Again, consider it, another tool in your toolbox to make your job easier and to try to really promote the information. Any questions? Any Any volunteers for the next newsletter for the summer? For a bio? Let me know. That's all I have, Doug. Thank you.
All right, Ken, thank you. All right, Desiree, how about some updates? Anything that you want to share with the group, please?
Yes, there are a few things. I wanted to go back and mention the fact that Stan Feldman for the Auxiliary Fulfillment Center periodically sends out newsletters to all the DSO MAs or maybe all the materials officers. And so it behooves you to, look at that and stay updated with what's different, what's new, and what's changed with the Auxiliary Center. Let's see, today is the 20th of February, and I wanted to remind all the material officers that the 7025 finance and unit inventory forms are due to your division or to your DCO because the Commodore needs to submit their report to Dirox by the 1st of April. So if you haven't already done so, get together with your finance officer and together sit down and fill out the form or at least touch base and see how your district handles this, okay? With that, there was an all aux that came out, I believe, April of 2024, which had a copy of the new finance and materials control standard operating procedures. There's about 9 pages in that document that refers to materials, and I think it behooves all material officers to get familiar with the rules and regulations. And one of the things, for example, to know is that we can only use 3 different credit card payment systems, that are accepted by the auxiliary. And one of them is, I believe, AffiniPay, PayPal, and Square. Those are the 3 credit card payment systems that we, can use, and that might help you out when you're running a district store at D-Trains, or if you have a district store period, to make sure that you are in alignment with that, okay? Uniforms. We now have uniform inspections, so there is a focus on uniforms, and I just wanted to touch base there, is that in the old days, the Uniform Distribution Center sold our Coast Guard auxiliary uniforms. But now they are available through the Coast Guard Exchange. And the Coast Guard Exchange also now has a few auxiliary related items like belt buckles or insignias, shoulder boards, etc. But to remember that the Auxiliary Association Fulfillment Center is the first place to go to get your auxiliary accessories. Okay, we need to support our own agency first and make sure that we order all those items from the Auxiliary Center. So uniforms fall under the Human Resources Directorate, okay? And Human Resources has created this very detailed, interactive uniform guide. And I behoove you to visit it and play around, because it's very, like I said, interactive. So the very many clickable items there, which would give you more detail. For example, it has a topic of the most used uniforms, and I'll give you a picture of the various uniforms, like the tropical blues or ODUs or the alternate work uniform, etc. But you can click on the uniform and get more detail. And then even then you can click on a device and get more detail on the device. And it gives you, how to wear it and where to position it, but also where to procure it. So it's a very, very handy tool. And I think all material officers need to be familiar with this guide, because it has all the information in it that is also covered in the Ox manual. They have put it in this guide, which is interactive, which should give you a nice visual of the uniform and the parts that they're talking about. Sometimes when something is described, it's not as easily related to. So that's one of the things that I think we need to be aware of, especially with the new required uniform inspection protocol. So we've got homework to do. Let's see. Something came up. Oh, yeah, there was a question last night regarding a challenge coin. What's the procedure to create a challenge coin for a unit, like a flotilla or a division? And so there's like 4 basic steps. Okay, and we will probably send out a recap of some of these instructions, but I'll just mention them here so that for your information. If your unit wants create a challenge coin, number 1, you need to have a design for it. Okay, and that design needs to be submitted to the A-Directorate. And the A-Directorate will look at it to see if there are any similar or duplicate designs, and then they will work it and vector it so that we have a clearer picture, and that all the authorized colors are used, etc. And so after that is created, that design needs to be approved by the chain of leadership before you can use it and order it at any vendor. So those are the 4 basic steps. If you have any more questions, feel free to email any one of us. And we can go over it in more detail, and we can send out some links and stuff. So I think that's all the updates that I have for right now. Other than we have the Auxiliary National Supply Center has their updated 2025 catalog. It has a automatic auto-fillable order form. The mistake that is located on our website, and the error that is usually made by someone who hasn't read the instructions, is that the order form needs to be downloaded on your desktop first, and then it's fillable. Okay. And if perchance you made a mistake and clicked on something that you really don't want, then all you need to do is click on it again, and the pop-up will come up, and you have to scroll all the way to the top and click at the blank space on the above the top line, and it'll erase your erroneous order item. So yes, that's all I have for right now. Like I said, we're working on the website as a resource for you, and we hope that you will participate and share some of the resources that you have found, very useful to you. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free, to contact us, because this is a cooperative endeavor. We're all here to help each other make our jobs easier. Okay,
Thanks, Desiree.
okay.
Okay, now we have just a few minutes for some quick questions and answers from the live chat. I have one here. One question says, will the 5-year service mini medal come back in stock soon? That is not a question I can answer, so I will defer this to either Commodore Fajardo or any of the DSOs if they know the answer to this question.
That will be a National Supply Center question, and so we'll have to check with Randy Ernst on that.
Okay, thank you. Next one is the procedure for the creation of the logo for the challenge coin the same procedure for the flotilla logos? And I can answer that yes. So if you are trying to create a logo for your flotilla or your division or your district, there are rules and procedures that you need to follow, and all that can be found on the Public Affairs Directorate's website. They are the ones that you have to work with. They have an entire graphics team that are available to help you create those logos and put that logo through the chain of leadership approval process in order for it to become official before any use. Next question is there an email address to send in orders? And yes, if you use the online ANSI form, the email address to send that form to is already located on the form itself. Let's see. One was, will the order form for materials go online instead of paper? And the answer to that is yes. You can find the ANSI order form, which is an online form usable from our website. You must download the form to your local computer and open it only in Adobe. If you try to use any other PDF software, it will not work correctly. Okay. Another question. Let's see. I think that is it from the live chat. Okay.
Yeah, Miguel, so
Yes.
it's Ken Sylvester. We've been getting questions. In fact, Chris Henderson just sent me a note on this feather flag that's in the newsletter. And I know, Desiree, you're familiar with it. I don't know how we want to handle that, but they're looking where they can procure a feather flag. And I know you did it locally, and that's what I think you were recommending, right?
That's correct. I recommend, because of the weight of the stand, etc., and the size, I recommend that you order it locally from any kind of sign making or flag making organization. Okay, the flag that is shown in the newsletter is a double-sided one, and it's 10 feet or maybe 12 feet tall. It fits in a giant auditorium, like a convention center. So, and I think that's a little bit too big. So, 8 or 10 feet is good size.
Okay, thank you, Desiree. There's another question on here, and this is a famous question. I hear it all the time. Are the coloring activity books still out of stock, and we need them for our Coastie time events? I believe the answer to that is yes, they are still out of stock, but I wanted to ask Commodore Fajardo if he knew.
That
Yeah,
can,
go ahead, Desiree. I think you're going to answer for me.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, that's a National Supply Center item. And also, I believe there are some in stock now.
So yeah, so maybe these are really good questions. So there are two, actually the National Supply Center is right next to Oxen. They share the same building. So the difference is the NSC, they're with the Coast Guard itself pretty much. I mean, they're civilians, but they work with the Coast Guard, whereas the Oxen, we're a separate entity. So when you get this material lists, those actually come from the National Supply Center, ANSC.
Thank you, Commodore. And I believe that is it for the questions, and we are coming up on time. So,
Miguel, excuse me.
yes,
I do have a couple of things I needed to hit that were.
yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, give me a second here to bring my sheet up. And I just noticed that Mr. Katzman just asked this question I hope to address here. So a question came up a few days ago regarding materials officers and 7025 processing. The materials staff may be involved with the inventory process. However, the 7025 is a finance officer's responsibility. They send it up their chain of leadership. The deadline for that, I believe, was the end of January for that to be put through, to be sent to the DSOs, DSO finances. So hopefully that'll be a little more clarification for everybody out there. We had a discussion also last week. I think we covered the challenge coins as far as the clarification. I'm just going to add one little thing. Besides submitting it for the graphics artworks branch, there is an online form and a submission process. So if there is something out there ready to submit, let us know, and we can actually send you a link to be able to put that up to the A Directorate. I think those are the only two things that I had.
Okay, thank you, Doug. In closing, our Deputy Assistant National Commodore Terry Barth was not here in the beginning for her opening statement, so I'm going to afford her the opportunity to give us to see if she has any closing remarks for the group. Terry, are you still on? Terry, I see you, but you're muted. Okay, she may be having technical difficulties. So, in closing, I want to thank everyone for joining us, both the DSOs and ADSOs for joining us on the Zoom link, and the division officers and flotilla officers for joining us on the live stream event. Both recordings will become available to everyone. We will post them on our website, so if anyone wants to see them that couldn't make it, you'll be able to do that by visiting our website. I want to say again that the job that you do for the auxiliary is extremely important. Without you, we can't get things to work correctly and get our materials out to the flotilla level. So please bear in mind that if you have any questions, we are here at National. We're here to assist you in any capacity. So if you don't get a proper response from either your division chain of leadership or your district chain of leadership, our branch chiefs are available to answer any question that comes about. Okay. So again, thank you all for coming this evening, and I hope you all have a pleasant evening and a great weekend. Thank you all.
Thank you, Miguel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.